We study groups of participants, in part because we need the statistical power, but we look at variance within the group as well. And to what degree children with dyslexia are the same as each other or different from one another, it's a really good question, because when you measure their performance on skills behaviorally, there's some differences. They're not all the same. They have some key features. They have difficulty with reading at the word level. They have difficulty with decoding. Most of the time they have difficulty with phonemic awareness, but then they vary. Some have tremendous difficulties with other things like rapidly naming objects, with working memory. Some may have more severe problems with comprehension that is influenced by their poor reading. And there is some variability. Even two dyslexic children with dyslexia in the same family may not be identical. And so, of course, from the brain perspective, people are beginning to ask that same question, which is, are there these differences? And the other thing I think the field is beginning to understand is that children with dyslexia, for example, are at higher risk for also having difficulty with math. And those go together more often than, so the occurrence of math difficulties is higher amongst the population with dyslexia than those without. And we think of them as very separate because they seem to be very different tasks, but in reality they do share some common origins. And it may be that you are identified because of your reading difficulties, and maybe your math appears to be fine, but actually it's just a little lower than would be considered fine, and it's there and it's a problem, but it's undiagnosed. And I think it's easier for people to spot reading difficulties than to spot difficulties in arithmetic and so on. And so I think the nature of how different or similar people with dyslexia are from each other also sort of depends on these other difficulties that they have. And people do start thinking of them now in terms of a continuum, where it may be that you have some difficulties in both, but one may be more extreme than the other.